Crisis, page 75. No one in my high school or the conservative Southern Baptist church I grew up in knew I was gay. To my knowledge, no one even suspected it. At 6 feet, 10 inches tall, I was a school basketball star, as well as valedictorian, student government president, and church youth group leader. I was the guy that moms wanted their daughters to date, and the friend to whom those daughters would lament, "Why can't my boyfriend be as sweet as you?" I was a walking teen movie cliche, except for one small secret. I wouldn't admit it for a few years, but I knew. After high school, I attended Texas Tech. College was my chance to reinvent myself. I could start dating girls who didn't view me as a big brother. I could pursue a career in landscape architecture. College would fix everything. To my dismay, the attractions persisted. I went to Bible study classes by day and watched gay porn on the internet on nights when my roommate was out of the door. The summer after my freshman year, I disclosed to one of the church leaders that I struggled with my homosexuality. But I was not gay. It was a test, nothing more. I would fight and prevail. I found an ex-gay ministry with an online support group and joined eagerly. But I continued to struggle. Exhausted by my attempts to hide my secret and keep my reputation as a good Christian, I began to spiral into depression. The church leaders I talked to encouraged me to keep fighting it. They said Jesus would heal my sin and fix me if only I stayed faithful. So I fought. I got counseling, I fasted, I prayed. I dated a girl from church. I worked at a Christian summer camp. I don't know how the idea came into my head to start cutting myself. I remember reading about some cutters on the ex-gay support website. Then, on Easter Sunday in 2003, I went online late at night and for the first time met another gay man. I told myself it was now or never. We hooked up, messed around, and I went home and cut myself for the first time. I could hide scars, no problem. I had plenty of experience hiding. I began to think that the only way I could resolve my crisis was either to write off God or get straight. Since my faith was so important to me, I chose the latter. I would go to the ex-gay meetings for a while, start feeling defeated because I wasn't getting healed, and go home and cut myself. Then I'd stop going to the meetings and be isolated in my depression, but would stop cutting myself. I told the ministry leaders this. They said the reason I didn't cut myself when I skipped meetings was because then my spirit wasn't fighting my flesh. My faith was no longer standing strong against my desires. They said even though cutting wasn't good, it was a positive sign that I was fighting my desires. I look back and have to laugh, albeit bitterly, at how long I fought that line. I was hurting myself. I had carved words into my chest to remind me of how much I hated myself. And they said that it was better than not fighting. They seemed to think that being an ex-gay cutter was better than being a healthy, happy homosexual. Of course, at that point in my life, I never met a healthy, happy homosexual. Or if I had, I'd let the ministry's brainwashing affect my perception of that person. Luckily, a few things happened all of a sudden that changed everything. I got a job at Pier 1 and was one of 3 gay men in a very open-minded workplace. One day, I found out one of the other gay guys had outed me to everyone. I was irate at first and very hurt. But then something odd happened. People still liked me. My coworkers didn't write me off or shun me. They didn't suggest I fight it or get counseling. They affirmed me. And then they just let me be. And I suddenly realized that they thought it was normal to be gay. I wasn't an aberration in their eyes. Slowly, I stopped going to ex-gay meetings. I stopped cutting myself. I stopped hating myself. I started learning to like and even love myself. None of the words I wrote on my chest left a scar. In spite of all of my attempts to dissect and divide myself, to remove my sexuality, something kept me together. I like to believe it was God's way of reminding me that no matter how much I hated myself and how much hate the ex-gay ministry taught me I deserved, God always loved me.